Hey, what's up you guys? So it's been a little bit on my channel since I put out a video. I've been busy running around. I had tons of work over the past month really, and then prior to that I went up to Traverse City, Michigan to run a marathon. So for those who maybe don't know, I'm an avid marathoner and trail runner, ultra runner, stuff like that. So it's a different part of my life, but I was up in Traverse City. Turn this down maybe a little bit. And I went up there because I wanted to run the Bayshore Marathon, but also to go visit Marty over, I guess, the Heavy Metallurgy channel. If you don't know, I'm part of the album club over there. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of take a little bit of vacation, see a beautiful part of the country, get a chance to go see Marty and run a race. So Corinne and I got in our Volkswagen sort of travel van that we use for camping. We picked that up a couple of years ago now and took that up there, camped in the van for a little bit. I ran the race, but I got a chance to also hang out with TJ and Marty, who live up there. So I usually don't do sort of collection update videos, but given the different nature of this, I thought it'd be cool to talk a little bit about our adventure going record shopping and show off some stuff that I picked up. Kind of talk about the thing all together. So there is a record store that Marty had wanted to go to in Grand Rapids. The name of the record store is called Vertigo, and he's talked about it on the channel in the past. They were kind enough to give me some stickers, but also I bought a solid stack of records. The guy who owns the place kind of saw how many I brought to the counter and was super cool and gave me kind of like a, I think, bulk buy discount, which was awesome. But in the lead up to this, Marty mentioned he'd like, let's go record shopping while you're up here, and I definitely wanted to visit this not only do some records, shopping with someone who shares this hobby, which is not something I get a chance to do often. So we jumped in. So TJ decided to join. It was in the lead up to this. I wasn't sure whether TJ would join, but he made time, which was super kind of him, to jump in Marty's van, and we all drove together to Grand Rapids, to Vertigo, and hung out on the way there, just chatting music, everything. And like some other, we'll get into the records here in a second, but I also, got to check out Heavy Metallurgy Studios and was kind enough to, Marty, introduce me to the family, so on and so forth. But when I went over to his place, he had up like a stack of old Worm gear. So, he gifted me, these are some Worm gear zines, I should say. He's got, Unholy in Flames, Today is the Day, which we covered both Unholy and Today is the Day on Album Club. This is issue number 7. Let me see. I got like a handful here. It's another one for you. There we go. High on Fire, Surrounded by Thieves. We covered that for an Album Club. Anyway, so I have not actually read through all of these yet, but that was cool. I've never, I didn't follow this Worm Gear zine back when I was living in Oregon. I don't know how many people were carrying it back then in Oregon, but I was a little bit too young as well to get into it. So there's a brutal truth back there. Anyway, like, that was a cool little piece of memorabilia that I picked up along the way, and it'll give me some fun sort of like, I mean, look how this is pretty exhaustive stuff. The font's pretty small, and I know this was a sort of a passion project that Marty's talked about on his channel. Plenty of interviews here for me to kind of go through. I don't want to spend too much of this like dissecting all of that Worm gear put together. Here's like a deceased interview. I'm looking at issue number 6 here. But like, beyond picking up the records, like, that was a cool piece just in conversation that sometimes happens backstage, or when a bunch of the fellow contributors to Heavy Metallurgy jump on. We're always talking about like the differences that we have, you know, trying to write about music versus getting on camera and talking about it. And Marty's mentioned at length that he always feels more confident in his written material versus what he's sort of talking about. So it's cool to kind of look at his writing from that time period and what he thought about records that, you know, now we're looking at probably a couple of decades since these were published. I'm actually impressed, like, that they're in pretty good shape. But this is like, I think early 2000s is what we're looking at here with these Worm gear zines. But that was like an unexpected little pickup. That was cool. That when he was like, are you interested in taking home any of these? Like, absolutely. I want to take a chance to look at all these old zines that he put together. Yeah, there's like an early Eternus, and I think that's their third record. That's kind of transitions as they go into kind of a death metal sound. So this would have been, I think that's 99, 2000. That'd be a good album club conversation piece. I know there's going to be an Eternus record talked about eventually, because to me that's a black metal. But we'll get into that, I'm sure, here soon enough. Okay, so like I said, got there for a couple of days, ran my marathon, and finally settled down, had dinner with everyone, and going off to Vertigo Records to pick some stuff up. So I'll just kind of show off what I picked up and talk a little bit about it. This isn't really meant to be an in-depth sort of analysis on these records, so I won't be talking at length. I know that's not really kind of my style on this channel, but this is doing something a little bit different, and just saying thanks to Marty and TJ for sort of entertaining Corinne and I while we were up in Traverse. So there's a handsome little stack of records I picked up. Yeah, I'll pull these out of their sleeves, so hopefully we don't get too much glare on the camera. Really good selection of metal records at Vertigo. I spent so much time just sort of rifling through the vinyl section that I didn't even get a chance to hit the CDs. So we'll probably, here in Kentucky, the drive up to Traverse is, I think, around 8.5 hours, but it's a really easy drive. And between Corinne and I splitting the drive, the excitement of getting a chance to kind of explore the outdoors. Corinne and I love to be outdoors, so to go camping up there, and just the forests up there are totally different than they are here in Kentucky, and it's cooler, so getting outdoors and spending it, it's not as challenging and brutal to be out in the heat like right now in Kentucky. Going camping during the course of the summer is just a challenge because it's like 90 some degrees, so we don't get a lot of elevation. Why you drive up north, you know, it's still hot up there, etc. But I think it's a little bit cooler at night. So I think we'll make I guess what I'm trying to say is we'll make a annual trip up to that area, get a chance to see Marty and hang out and do plenty of camping. But next time I go to Vertigo, I'll spend the entire time in the CD section, because I spent in the vinyl section this past time, and I could have spent a whole lot more. So let's kind of get into the records here. So first one I picked up, this is Parts of the Ancient Empire. Ancient Temples, by Nocturnity. They kind of do, right, the album covers are sort of stand out, and they all kind of feature these sort of black and white with medieval armor characters. I heard that the band actually, they make the armor that they use in their album covers, but it's Greek black metal, but probably a little bit more on the epic side of things. I really like Macabre Omen, and that's another sort of frame of reference for what this band has to offer. So, I mean, they haven't put out a lot of material, especially in full lengths, but what they do put out is always killer. I believe this was from 2018. 2015. I'm looking at my Metallum over here. So it's been a little bit since they put out a record, but if you can grab their stuff, it's pretty rare. I was happy to find it over at Vertigo. So as soon as I saw it, like the album covers are so striking, I immediately knew what I had on hand and wanted to take advantage of it. Okay, I'll leave there's like 3 records here I kind of want to pull out and talk about in conjunction with one another. Okay. They had some cool represses there, and yeah, it'd be nice to get some of these as original pressings, but they're classic records, and for now, having solid, well done reissues, I was happy to get. I didn't have these on vinyl, so I picked them up. Onslaught the Force, Sacrifice for Determination, and Infernal Majesty, None Shall Defy. Sort of classic. I mean, they're all sort of inhabiting a similar space, right? And so when I picked them up and then was listening back, I haven't spent in recent, like over the past month or so, I haven't sat down and listened to all of them at length, but Infernal Majesty, this to me out of the 3 sounds closest to a little bit more of a speed metal record, whereas like Sacrifice and Onslaught to me are a little bit more pure thrash. All killer listens, and you listen to them like once or twice, intermittently, and I trying to digest these classic records, I really need to spend more time doing like dedicated listens to them to talk about them at length and what their strengths are. But I think immediately, sort of initial impressions, spinning them here on vinyl, the Onslaught and Sacrifice are probably competing for the top spot for me out of the 3. The Infernal Majesty record, I think trying to situate it in a speed metal classification is, I sort of put it to the side and kind of consider it a separate thing. It's not that it's not a thrash record by any means, just that's my initial impression. You can light me on fire in the comments if you see fit, but picked up those 3, all classic records, right? I could spend, a whole lot of time, and maybe that'll be a subject for a different video, is like comparing the 3 of them at length, or maybe I'll pull them into an album club. But I really wanted to pick this up this is the first one I saw, and then basically TJ was there with us, and he talked about how he loves this record. This is his favorite from Sacrifice, and Marty's talked about how much he loves this Onslaught record. So I guess I can thank the both of them for recommending these at length, being like, "There's no way you're gonna walk out the door without picking these up." And then for me personally, this Infernal Majesty was one that I wanted to add to my collection. So some killer thrash metal. Let's take a quick little segue here. I spent some time over in the punk section. So I guess Michigan Classic record, one from my youth nostalgia, and then a younger band that I think deserves some conversation. So Michigan Zone, Negative Approach, Tied Down. This is a classic. I know another repress here. I don't know the color scheme history to these albums, like which one. I think Marty mentioned he has this, but it's a green variation in terms of the album cover. And I don't know if that's the original press and it's definitely an earlier issue, but Michigan hardcore royalty. Touch and Go Records. Anyway, classic was, their being in Michigan, was happy to pick this up and felt right. Didn't have this on vinyl, so cool one to add to the collection. And yeah, I've spent this a little bit of time listening to it. It's not obviously the longest listen in the world, but a classic. Yes, okay, so some sort of crust, if you will, from the time period when I was, in my, I guess, late teens. Wolfpack, I believe they are Swedish crust, but yeah, like bands like Wolfpack and Skid System for me were a part of my life when I was, kind of getting, like, coming from punk and transitioning more and more into metal stuff. And Crust was definitely a segue band, or segue genre, and Wolfpack part of that sort of transition time for me. All Day. Anyway. It's another repress. I don't think many of the this is on Southern Lord. Many of the records I picked up were actually that were classic records, were original pressings, but so it was nonetheless cool to pick this up, and this is definitely sort of a world of nostalgia for me. So new band. So I wanted to pick this up for the longest time, and it just kept on getting put to the side. But when I saw it, for sure. So this is Rat Cage, Screams from the Cage. So they are, I believe, a UK band, but definitely inspired by Swedish crust. This is on a label that I will sort of intermittently through the year will frequent. La Vida es un mus. Yes. Yeah. I don't think they're Spanish, but for some reason, I could be wrong about that. I don't think that the label's based in Spain, but nevertheless, I could be 100% wrong. But a label you should check out. You can find them on Bandcamp and all that. This was released, I think, in 2019, 2020. But if you like Swedish crust, UK charged hardcore, they've got a good blend of that. So check out Rat Cage. Okay. What do we want to go next? Let's pick a newer release. Yeah. So this came out this past year. This is Paradigm Call from a band from another Swedish band, Saturnalia Temple. They play kind of like stoner and doom, but it's definitely in that Faust Coven, black metal informed kind of doom. So Another band that comes to mind is like Head of Demon. They're all coming out of Sweden, but it's like if you were pulling from Mortuary Drape and venturing into more sort of a cultish doom sound. This is a brand new release on Listenable Records this past year. But if you like Faust Coven or Head of Demon, this is another band to sort of add to your listening habits that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I really liked their last release from 2021. So I knew I wanted to pick this up. There are a couple of records off of Listenable this year that I missed, like the latest Kawir record I also want to grab. But I haven't listened to a whole lot of sort of doom and stoner stuff this past year that really grabbed my attention. When I saw that they were coming out with a new record, I knew I wanted to pick it up. So, Saturnalia Temple. Let's stay with the sort of doom story here. So, a classic band, pulling everything out of their sleeves, so hopefully we won't get too much glare. This is Electric Wizard, Come to My Fanatics. This is their second full length, I believe. Rise Above Records. For a lot of people, Electric Wizard is like the one band that they can tolerate in this genre. Like, I'm not really into stoner doom, but I can do with Electric Wizard. I don't know if you like this more than, if you're watching this, you like this more than Dope Throne, but this is just as good in my opinion. So if you like Electric Wizard, but you sort of confine your listening habits to Dope Throne, like, you might want to check out Come to My Fanatics. Okay, I know I got three more I want to show here. So, another band that may show up in a video that I'm going to do here soon. This is Inter Arma with Sky Burial. Inter Arma for me is like the band that came out of the aughts. That was kind of when post-metal was becoming more and more of a thing. And they're one of the few survivors that adopted that style and found ways to sort of navigate through, elements of more extreme metal, with sort of holding on to, right, they're on Relapse. So if you were into like post-metal and things that were going on in the aughts, Relapse is a label that's at this point become sort of synonymous with the genre. Inter Arma for me is like the one holdover where I maybe won't get completely invested in the bands that are coming out now in this sort of world, but every time I see a new Inter Arma release, like, I'm curious to kind of venture back into it, right? And in the same way that a band like Electric Wizard might be your like exception with stoner doom, Inter Arma for me at this point is like the sludge post-metal exception at some level. So they do a lot of different things, and I've listened to their newest release. I haven't quite made up my mind. Like, I like it, but to where it sits in their catalog, Sky Burial's much more of like it's less complicated than their more recent output. Sulphur English from 2019, I loved. So I'm gonna keep collecting their stuff, and a lot of good records to their catalog. Very consistent band. But I'll probably be talking about this band more generally in an upcoming video. But was happy to pick up Sky Burial. This is one of their, I think their second or third release, like around 2013-ish. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's when Sky Burial came out, so over a decade old, I guess. We'll move on. Okay. Two more records I have here to show. Okay. Making a bit of a divergence. just a little bit about my death metal choices. I'm not a huge, like, some people absolutely love Swedish death metal. But there's other forms of death metal that I think I would offer up in front of it. This I did not have on a vinyl release. I'm happy to pick up a reissue, and it is 100%. It's a classic album with like a killer album cover. Carnage. Yeah, another. This is an earache repress. But what can you say? Classic Swedish death metal. For people who, I mean, I don't really need to talk about this at length, right? If you're watching this video, you've probably seen people talk about Dark Recollections enough, but classic. And this one, cool little find. It was sitting on, you know, one of the shelves below at like a discounted price, and Marty recognized it, and he's like, "You like this stuff more than I do," and this is at an awesome price. So this is the second full length from this band, but Canada's Weapon with Draconian Paradigm, $7. Vinyl's in good condition, but yeah, Marty found this sitting down there, and he's like, "You dig the kind of war metal stuff more than I do. You should definitely check out. Do you own this?" And I knew Weapon. I'd listened, I think, to their third full length and dug it. But yeah, Ajna Offensive released this, and Canadian war metal. So thank you, Marty, for this find. He gets all the credit there. Okay, massive stack of vinyl I went through. I just wanted to, take another chance to thank Marty and TJ for being such amazing hosts. Getting a chance to hang out with them was awesome. Corinne and I will make a venture up there, and on a probably consistent basis, like once a year or something like that, just to kind of spend some time in Michigan, because we loved being outdoors and travelers and getting a chance to hang out. So thank you once again to Marty and TJ for being such great hosts and being so accommodating in our time that we were up there. I am just a little channel update. I hope to be far more productive, in terms of putting out videos here on my channel, because I've been so busy with the more recent past with work, but also doing all my marathon training and stuff like that really knocked me out on the weekends, and I didn't really have the energy or desire to get in front of a camera and do a bunch of editing and stuff like that. So calendar is cleared up a little bit, and you should at least see some more stuff here on my channel. But you can always check me on the Album Club every Wednesday night, and then also we'll be doing some reviews for Marty's and Alan's channel at Heavy Metallurgy. You can always catch me there every once in a while talking about a newer release. So till then, thank you, Marty, TJ, and hopefully next time we get to go to Vertigo, you are awesome. I will definitely be coming back and make that part of my sort of annual trip when I head up to Michigan. If you are in Grand Rapids and you're looking, if you're a metal collector, really any music collector, like, we got there on a Sunday. I think they opened at like noon, and there were already people swarming on a Sunday morning looking to get in. Like, there were 10, 15 people waiting outside the doors to do some record shopping. So it's a good sign, and just should also speak to the level of like the deals. The prices are great. So and I was super awesome to see that they gave me, that when they saw they saw I was buying so much, gave me an awesome deal on all the vinyl records I picked up. So cannot recommend Vertigo enough. If you're in Grand Rapids, go check them out. That's all I got for you. I'll see you guys here soon enough.